of it being something in the Torah that, the Most High specifically speaks to, he doesn't talk about it. It's only mentioned in the Torah to let you know like where those earrings were. They were on the ears of the people, and that was with being used to create an idol. So they did have piercings. Um,
What you saying that
the
it
males had their
was
earrings.
it was
Earrings.
for
It being
they
something in the Torah that.
they were doing it for idolatry purposes?
Hmm? No, I wouldn't say that. I would say, like I said, it's part of their custom. It's their tradition, right? So they had earrings. They already had earrings um, before it even, was recognized of them being involved in taking it to make something idolatrous with. So, but they did. They had piercings.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah,
sure
I guess
did. Yeah.
that's I would identify. I mean, well, one of our customs you say like it identifies us because we would be like that type of people have piercings on our nose or ears.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, it's more of a cultural thing, you know. So it's about a cultural thing. It's something for tradition. Did they all have earrings? Probably not. Most of them did, but was it something that, is mandated or something? Nah. So, but that's a great question, though. Great observation. The answer that I have is that he said, take it out of their ears. Take it from your son's earrings. Okay. Your sons and your daughters, they had jewelry. All right, everyone. Welcome home. I'm recording Dawid, like you probably would ask me. Toda Rabbi, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Let me go ahead and get started in our lesson today. Hopefully, it won't be a long lesson. Hopefully, it'll be a very thorough lesson. Get myself off of here. Feel free to ask any questions like you have in the past, because this is not church. This is not church. Okay. Your Torah portion this last week was called Yitro. Okay. Some people say Jethro, but it's Yitro. Okay. And basically, what this word means, it means to make an alliance. Okay. And it also means something that has to do with a wedding. Okay. So it has something to do with the wedding. Yitro has to do with alliance and it has to do with the wedding. Ironically enough, it has to do with what I would call a connection, which Kel and I were just discussing about how to get connected, and what connects us to the Most High and what resonates with us, and how it is that we're not really looking for someone to convince us. It's something innate within us that says, hey, I know this to be true. I just feel it. I feel connected. So this is the theme that our Torah portion is going to be about today. Okay. So it's about an alliance, it's about a wedding, and it's about being connected. Okay. You said, well, where's the wedding? Where's the wedding? The wedding is found in chapter number 19. That's where the wedding is. Okay. And it's the Most High making an alliance with the children of Jacob, the house of Israel. Okay. So being connected is what we're talking about. The overview here is the awareness that we find in chapter number 18. Chapter number 19 is where the alliance happens. And of course, chapter number 20 is where our connections are. All right. The awareness that we found in chapter number 18, the word kotain is called, I don't have it up here in Hebrew, but it is a father-in-law. And so Moshe's father-in-law comes to him. He hears about all the wonderful things that Yahweh has done for him. And then he's bringing his wife and his two children with, so there's something, a backdrop of reconciliation that's found in chapter number 18. But also, too, there was this idea of burdens that needed to be shared with the people because Moshe took it upon himself to pretty much do everything himself. And as a result, his father-in-law, his Kotain, saw this and was like, hey, what you're doing is not good. It's not good for you and it's not good for the people. And so there's these ideas that are found there about burdens and how they need to be shared, and the idea about delegation, where one is supposed to give responsibilities to those who have the ability to do so, which they would call the men of ability or men of wealth or men of ability or men of truth, men who are really not interested in taking advantage of anyone. And so that was found in chapter number 18. We're not going to talk about that too much today because we have other things that are going to stick out a little bit more that I want to kind of deal with because of the importance of them and the urgency that I found within the Torah portion this week. Okay, so alliance is where this idea of coming together happens, and that's between the infinite and the finite. The infinite is that which is boundless, doesn't have any limits, and then of course the finite is the one who is limited, and who is restricted, right? And so that's what we're going to find in chapter number 19. Okay. And then, of course, we're going to deal with the connections that we find in chapter number 20, which some would call the Decalogue, or they would call the law, okay, or they would call the covenant, or some erroneously call it the Ten Commandments. So it's not the Ten Commandments, and I'm going to show that to you today. Okay, that's false. It's not 10. All right. But those connections are what we need to find out how to strengthen connections, those connections, and how we can weaken those connections because connection is what it's all about. And so we need some type of awareness about who we're really involved with. Who do we really have an agreement with? Okay. This alliance is with Yohe Wahe. All right. I'm going to try to do my best today to stay calm and not, go berserk because I have so much that's on my heart. Okay. But this alliance with Yohe is of great importance for us. Okay. We're not in just a relationship with some people say God. Okay. You're not in a relationship with just God, the creator. Okay. Listen to me carefully. The word Elohim, or what some would call God, is found in chapter number 1 of the book of Genesis. Okay. Yohe name is not mentioned until you get to chapter number 2. Okay. Chapter number 3, those two names are combined. So Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh Elohim, that is a combined name. Okay. And then it goes for, combined for some time. And then after the fall or the flood, the name separates. It's no longer Yahweh Elohim, it's just Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh. Okay. That's a whole nother topic or subject that we're going to go into as we continue to go through our Torah portions. But today I just want to kind of give you an idea about Yahweh. Yahweh is more personal than his counterpart. He doesn't have there's not a second God. There's only one Elohim. Just don't used. It's how the Most High operates, how he operates at different times. So what I mean by Elohim is like I'm your power, I'm the creator. I deal with the sky, the moon, the stars. I deal with the waters. I deal with, you know, creation. I deal with rivers and streams and the solar system. That's Elohim. Okay. That's the creator. Okay. Yohe is the personality of the creator. Okay. This is the one who's very personal with his creation. Okay. And what he has done is he's chosen to reveal his name to a people. Okay. So the whole world is not involved or have a relationship or have an alliance with Yohe. Okay. I'm laughing because it's very evident and it's clear what this means. Okay. It means in layman's terms that everyone else they know the creator in terms of God. Because Noah knew him, his sons and all the other people, and they understood that there was a power, they understood that there was a creator, and then they started worshiping all these other gods. But no one has a personal relationship with Yohe except for the children of Israel. That's it. Plain and simple, period. So what does this mean for you and I? It means that you and I are responsible for the alliance that we have with him because we have made an agreement with him. Okay, and we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to try to keep it as clear as possible. Okay, and I want you to ask me any questions that you may have because this is a really good teaching. Okay, so this alliance was made on a mountain. All right, I'm keeping it vanilla. I'm keeping it basic so we can all understand it. And I don't want to make it difficult. right? So a lot of teachers like to, tell you how much they know and share all these big words with you and all this kind of stuff. That's not what we need. What we need is very simple terms that we can all understand. Even a child can understand this. Okay. So this alliance, this agreement, this relationship started at a mountain. Okay. And that mountain is called Har Sinai, or you would hear called Mount Sinai. And of course, this alliance is made with a house and it's made with some sons. Okay. And sometimes, depending on the context of when the word son is are being used, it could include daughters as well. Yes, Michelle.
But don't they also call it Mount Horeb?
Yeah, they call it that. That's another name, Mount Korev. And Korev means the mountain of vengeance or the mount of the sword. Yes. Okay. Good observation. Right. So Har Sinai or Mount Sinai or Mount Korev. Okay. But in our Torah portion, he calls it Har Sinai. Right. So this is the place where the Most High has said to Moshe, when you bring the children of Israel, you'll know that I sent you when you end up bringing the children of Israel to this place. And it's identified as the mountain of Elohim. So this is somewhere that he chose, okay, for his revelation, okay. And by the way, I don't have a slide for it, but the day that he arrives is actually on the day of which you would call Shavuot, okay. This is where you get the feast of weeks from, because it took the children of Israel 7 weeks to come out of Egypt to arrive at their destination. Okay, so now is the time of rest for them. So, and then of course, he makes this alliance with those who he would call the house of Israel, or you would say the house of Yaakov, and which are the sons of that family. Okay. Now, here's a little bit of a deeper dive. Okay. There's a
Slide us into the meeting.
hallelujah. So there's a purpose for the mountain. Okay. So when you're reading this week, you're just like, okay, he arrived on the mountain. So why the mountain? Why the house? Why the sons? Why is he mentioning this? Okay, because the Torah is identifying some key areas that are trying to, the author's trying to bring to our attention, right? So the reason why it's at a mountain, everyone, is because it was a higher position, right? Meaning to let the children of Israel know, okay, well, when we're going to deal with the Most High, it's about us elevating and it's about us transcending. The Most High didn't meet the children of Israel like he met Moshe. Okay. When he showed up to Moshe, it was in a bush, it was on a flat, surface, it was in a desert. So why didn't he come to the children of Israel on that level? He came to them on a higher level. Okay. And there's a reason for this higher level. Okay. And of course, we know that the word for higher means to be like a ola, or what they would call to exalt, okay, or to go higher. And that is usually found with this word here. Okay. Ola. Okay. And in this word ola, and sometimes you would in English, forgive me guys, if I'm writing in Hebrew, I'm not trying to make it hard for you, okay? Ola. And ola in English is the same thing that you see down here in Hebrew, right? And basically what an ola is to see from the letter. The first letter is the ayin, and then of course the L is authority, to see the authority, okay, or to behold the authority, okay, the one who's in charge, or to look at the staff, okay. And the one who's lifted up, the one who's lifting up the staff, like Moshe lifted up the staff all the time up to the heavens, or he lifted it up, to the Most High, or the Most High said, lift up your staff, so forth and so on. But the Olah is also to an offering, right? Which is called one that ascends. Okay. So this idea of a higher position is one of ascending, okay, which you find that Moshe ascended up to the mountain on several occasions. And also, too, the children of Israel were to ascend after a certain point. Okay. I don't know if you found that, but it's in chapter number 19, verses 9, chapter 19, verses 13 all the way down. He begins to tell you when the children of Israel are supposed to ascend. Some commentators or some scholars have said, oh, no, he never wanted them to ascend.
Did cry. Stop doing this mistakes.
I disagree with, I'm sorry, I heard someone on, okay. So that just kind of broke my thought. I apologize, everyone. So basically, what we're talking about is ascending to a higher position. Do me a favor, everyone. Make sure you don't, if you're listening to some other teaching or whatnot, don't come off. Make sure you keep your phone on mute because it really broke my rhythm, my thought. So here, the house, there was a reason for the house, okay, in the Torah portion. When he says, I want you to talk to the household of Yaakov that you see here on your right-hand side of the screen, what he's literally talking about is the lineage, okay? And the lineage of a people is our identity, which you and I would know that it's only from the family of Yaakov or the sons of Israel. The reason why it's the sons of Israel is because it's talking about the ones who are going to be able to continue, right? So it talks about the family and the family line continuing. So when he says, behold, I need you, you are to say to the house, he's talking to the lineage. He's talking to the lineage, okay? The identity of the people. And then here he's talking about those who continue the family, which are the sons of Israel, the Banim, okay? Not to muddy the waters, but he's addressing the sons of the house of Israel. Okay. He's not addressing the wives. He's not talking to the daughters. He's talking to the sons. Okay. And the reason why he's talking to the sons is because the sons are the ones who're supposed to continue the family. Okay. The daughters are end up going to be mothers and they're going to be wives. Okay. And as a mother and a wife, they are going to be what they would call the segula. They're going to be the treasure of the family, just like everything else. Okay, which you're going to see in just a moment. So all this is addressed to the sons of the family because they are the ones that the Most High is having an alliance with. Okay. Now we look at, well, also too, the when Moshe came down from the mountain, from the Har Sinai, and he came down and he presented the children of Israel, which we would say is a Cain. He talked to the elders. The elders then took the information, okay, and when it said he told them, he made it known to them. He laid it out before them, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. But he laid out the information to them, okay? And then the elders took the information that was laid out and shared with them, and then they went to go talk to the heads of the families, okay? And those are the sons that they went to go talk to. They didn't ask whether or not the children or the wives or the servants or anyone else would be willing. Okay. It asked if the sons are going to be willing, the family, the heads of the families, are they going to be willing to do what the Most High is asking them to do? And guess what they said? They said, yes, we're going to do everything that the Most High has asked us to do. Okay. Anyone have any questions before we continue? Great. So what we're dealing with, everyone, is an alliance. Okay. Now, when he was making this alliance, there were some stipulations. Okay. And basically, a stipulation is something or specific conditions that are demanded. So he's making some demands on them about this agreement that he's going into with them. And I'm talking about the infinite with the finite. Okay. And the big part of this was he was asking them to actively, not just one time, but I need you to actively listen. That word right there is to listen and obey. So it's the Shema, which you would hear, hey, Shema Yisrael, hey, I need you to actively listen and obey what I'm going to say to you. And they said, yeah. And so when we talk about a Shema or Shemoah, what it's talking about is, I want you to listen to my speech. I want to, when you and I have dialogue, okay, he's saying to them, when we have dialogue with each other and I'm talking to you, I want you to make a promise that you're going to listen to me. That's what I want you to do. Okay. I need you to promise that you're going to listen carefully and always going to listen to me. All right. So this is what he was saying. This is what the offer was. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So let me see here. Get that. Okay. So he's asking them to make a promise that they would always listen to this speech. and to have dialogue. Because if there's no dialogue, everyone, if there's no talking and there's no communication and and it's not understood that when I'm saying and when I'm speaking, and the Most High is saying, when I'm speaking, he said, I'm going to use language with you, okay? Because that's the bridge of communication. That's what connects us to him, okay? It's not just his spirit, it is literally communication. And this is something huge for us because this is what's being used, okay? So he's saying, when I'm having dialogue with you, in order for us to maintain this bridge between us and this communication, you're going to have to always obey me. And so this is what Moshe laid out. Well, I'm showing you what was laid out to them, okay? Because this is good for us. So we can understand what the stipulations are. Because if you don't know what they are, then you're going to get lost. And then you're going to say, I didn't know. And then you're going to make some mistakes. And it will cost you. Because everything and every move that we make cost us, whether or not we want to acknowledge it or not, okay? The second part of this is not only that I want you to actively listen to my speech when I'm talking to you, when having a dialogue, okay? It's also, I need you to actively guard. That's the word shamar. I need you to guard my agreement. I need you to guard the agreement, the covenant, okay? And the reason why he's asking him to do this is because the covenant is going to be spoken through the speech. Okay. The covenant here is not only that which is spoken, okay, but it's also that which is written. Oh, there's two people that want to get in. Okay, good. Where are they? Forgive me, everyone. I need to clear here, see if I could get someone. There's three people in the waiting room. Come on, let's go.
Well, one of them was Elder Bill and I. We were trying to log in on two devices. I'm going to try again. I didn't want to bother you during your teaching.
No, sure, no worries. There you go.
Okay.
You're good to go. Everyone's in now. So now, everyone, just to kind of follow what we're talking about, he's saying that, and just let's take our time, okay? You and I have to actively continue to listen to the dialogue, and we actively have to guard the 10 words, which is called the Eseret HaDavarim. We have to guard this, okay? Because if we don't, then the bridge is going to be broken, okay? The bridge will snap. It's not going to, there won't be any connection, okay? And so, and then he says after this, then if you do these things, it's always an if, okay? It's not when, it's an if. So it's left into the hands of the people who actually want to participate. So you would exist as a possession. You're gonna exist as a possession. Okay? You're gonna exist as a possession. And this right now, or could be a problem. Okay? This has been a problem for us because we don't really understand this. Okay? For example, when the Most High came and spared our lives, okay, I want you to remember this. When he came to spare our lives, okay, he took possession of us. That's what he did. He took possession of us. And he said, I brought you to myself. I did this. I brought you on the wings of an eagle. I did this for you. I did this for you. I did that. I did all these things for you. Okay. And so if you are to listen to me, right, then you would remain or exist to me as a special treasure. But you have to listen and you have to obey and you have to guard. So this is where the problem is because this is not open to discussion, right? Rivka. There's the Ha'am or the Goim and the Hadelit, the Boim, Aksha. So, and then of course, we have the idea of the obligations. Okay. So there's obligations that are necessary. Okay. There's obligations that are necessary for this stipulation, or what you would say the demands that are being made. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Okay. Is to be Qadosh. So everything that I have here bold is letting us know that this is the way that the Most High is deciding to have a relationship with that which has restraints and that are limited. Because we're dealing with someone who's not bound by anything. We're dealing with an entity that, a deity that is not confined to days and to months and years and to speech and to, you know, being told what to do and all these sorts of things. Okay. So that is the idea behind Qadosh. So the Most High is saying, like, if you have this agreement with me, then if you come into this, you have to be Qadosh because you're my possession, because I'm Qadosh. So this doesn't leave any room for us. Okay. And I'm not saying this to upset us. I'm not saying this to discourage us. I'm not saying this to weaken us. I'm saying this to strengthen us. Okay. There is nothing or no one or anything that can ever change this. There's not a savior that can come and disturb this. Okay. So hopefully you can see this, that Yah's going to have dialogue and speech with us. He's going to give us the words that he wants us to understand, for us to guard. Because if we do this, then we become a possession. And because we're a possession of his, we have to be Kadosh. And so he's not going to leave that into our hands to be Kadosh. Like he told Moshe to go talk to the children of Israel, tell them to wash their clothes and don't go near your wife, because on the third day I'm going to visit you. That word right there, set yourselves apart, Kadosh. There's a level of being set apart. This level that I'm discussing is not washing your clothes and not having intercourse with your wife. This here is dealing with a whole nother level, because we're talking about Har Sinai. We're talking about Mount Sinai. We're talking about Mount Korev. We're talking about elevation. We're talking about transcendence. Okay. So we're not going to be people who don't understand what's going on. We're not going to just come into this relationship or this agreement not understanding the stipulations. And this is the reason why we are in the situation we're in today, because our ancestors, including ourselves, have violated the stipulations of the agreement. We have broken the agreement. Therefore, because we've broken the agreement, we have broken our communication with the Most High and our connection that he wants. Okay. And I want you to keep this in mind. Okay. When I'm talking about Kadosh. Yes, Mashal.
It makes sense now that since we broke the agreement, he puts us back in the situation that he took us out from, which is captivity.
Yes. And that's a great point. And because we are in captivity, and because we are limited, and because we have broken the agreement, okay, you and I are not, okay, Kadosh. You're not Kadosh. Not when you and I are eating bread that has been afflicted, bread of affliction, which you would call contaminated. Like the Most High told Ezekiel, make this bread and cook it with human dung. He said, oh no, Yahweh, nothing is ever unclean has ever entered my mouth. He said, okay, go do it with cow dung. That's feces. Go do it with that. Go cook your food with that, because this is what's going to happen for the children of Israel when they are leaving and going into exile. Okay. So if you and I are his, listen, I'm not discouraging. I'm trying to get us to understand something. Because if we can get this, then you will be, I would say, better off than you are without it. Okay. So this is something that's demanded of us. And the Most High has made it clear in the book of Leviticus. It says, speak to the entire community of Israel. Just like he told them, Moshe, speak to Israel, the house of Jacob and the sons of Israel, speak to them. Now he's talking to the whole community. I need you to tell them, this is a command. You are to be Kadosh. Okay. That's that word that you see on your right hand screen, Kadosh, because I am Kadosh. We know it as being holy. Okay. Okay. And Yahweh, your Elohim, for I am holy, am holy. I'm Kadosh. Yahweh, I'm your Elohim. I am Kadosh, am Kadosh. So there is a separation between him and all things. There's a separation between him and all other Elohim. There's a separation between him and all creation. There's a separation. So for us, if he's asking us to be Qadosh, it's simply because he's set apart. And you and I are going to become set apart. Okay. And we're going to do that through the process that he has prescribed. We're not going to try to come up with our own way of doing this. Because if it's our way versus his way, then it's not Qadosh. Because Yah is only giving us the information that we need to become Qadosh. Any other way outside of what he said is not Qadosh. It's common. So if you're talking about the way that the New Testament prescribes on how you should live your life, that is not Qadosh. Yahweh's never spoken there. Yahweh doesn't speak one mumbling word in the New Testament. And a lot of people got a problem with this because they want to be holy, like they say in the book of Peter. You know, you're a royal priesthood, you're priest of God. And we've been hearing that since we were babies, going to church, people running, screaming and crying and giving their money and speaking in some weird language and screaming and crying and repenting and preaching and singing and all this and clapping and dancing. And the fact is, and they said they have the Holy Spirit. And so our idea of what Kadosh is has been contaminated and it's been perverted. Okay. So keep in mind, I don't want you to get lost in my presentation. I want you to stay with me. Okay. In your Haftarah, there were these beings, okay, and they were crying out to each other. They were called seraphim. And they were saying Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. And as I taught before, it was in a way that was singing this to the Most High. And when singing in the way that we can't sing this way. Okay. And the reason why we can't sing this way and the reason why we can't say it the way they said it is because these beings were in his presence. And they said the Yahweh Zava oath, he's Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Now, when it said that they said to each other, okay, they didn't say it one time. And we don't know how many were saying it. They don't tell us how many seraphim were there. They don't tell us how many fiery beings. Listen very carefully. Fiery beings called the seraphim. They were all saying this, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. All of them to each other. Is Yahweh Zavaoth, the whole earth is filled with his glory. Okay? And they were pure beings. And this was a vision that Isaiah had. And when he had it, he said, woe isn't to me, I'm undone, I'm dead. You know, I'm a man of unclean lips. How am I going to survive this? And then if you read, it goes through the process of where they purified him, where he could be able to speak, because he wasn't able to speak because of the environment that he was in and the vision that he saw. Okay. So these fiery beings are covering their faces, they're covering their bodies, and they're covering their feet. Okay. And they're using the other two wings to fly. So the first set of wings was covering their faces. The other next set of wings were covering their body and their feet. And the third pair they were using to what? To fly with. All right. Quick, sharp covering, protection. They were protecting they couldn't look at Yah. All they could say is this. And it doesn't say how many. Could it be myriads and myriads and myriads? So why is this important? Because what they were saying was a prophetic declaration to what is going to happen to the earth. Okay. When they use the term Yahweh Zavaoth, everyone, this word right here is the commands. That's Zawa. That's the word for command. The oath means many. So in English, it would be Yahweh of heaven's armies. Or you can say Yahweh of the commands, all the commands. Yahweh of the heaven's armies, who's giving commands to his messengers, who gives commands to everyone, right? Commands to the sun, the moon, and stars, to creation. So the whole earth is filled with his glory. That is a prophetic end of what is going to happen. So they're saying this. This is a reminder, and they're saying it even today. That's what's being spoken by them. Okay? So how does this relate to the Torah portion? It relates to the Torah portion because it's trying to show us the sanctity of the Most High and the sanctity of his name. It's trying to show us that when he came, he did not come by himself. All of them were there. They were there. The throne of Yah was out Mount Sinai, and Yahweh descended down into the fire or to the top of the mountain. So when they said that they saw the voices, these were the voices that they saw. It didn't say they heard the voices, they saw the voices. You understand? So this was an experience that could never be imagined. This is the revelation of Yah. That's why it's prophetic, because it's talking about what it's going to be. So when they're talking about the whole world is filled with his glory, his kavodo, it's talking about all of his being and all the might and the majesty of him. And who better to proclaim this than the ones who are the fiery ones? They're the fiery beings. And if you read in chapter number 104 of Psalms, it says that he's made the flames his servants. So Isaiah sees this vision in the temple of Yah. And the temple is shaking. When they're talking, everything is shaking. So when the Most High came down in your Torah portion, it said that the mountain shook, and the people, it just kept trembling, and the mountain shook, and the people were afraid, and they shook and they quaked. Everybody's quaking. So this individual, this being that you and I, this entity, this deity that we have this relationship with, is Qadosh. He's so Qadosh. He's 3 times Qadosh. You understand? That's who he is, and that's who you and I are in a relationship with. Okay? So it's good for us to know this, because he's already telling you what he's going to do. There was an awareness that Isaiah had about his vision. He said, woe is unto me, I'm doomed. I'm undone, because I'm a man with unclean lips. I'm living among people with unclean lips. I have seen with my own eyes the King, Yahweh Sabaoth. I saw it, he saw it, but in your Torah portion, it said they didn't see any vision. All they saw was fire. So he sees the Most High in a vision. Some people like to go there, Christian apologists like to go there and say, see, Isaiah saw him. This word right here, seen, is a vision. Most High would allow different people to see him in visions, like he let our father Yaakov see him in a vision. He let Ezekiel see him in a vision. He let Isaiah see him in a vision. Okay. But you notice that Isaiah doesn't describe Yahweh the King. He describes his robe. He describes his glory, his magnificence. And then he automatically goes and starts talking about how unclean his lips are. But I thought he was a prophet, Akika. So what is he talking about unclean? Is he talking about, does he cuss? Does that make our lips unclean? Yes, it makes your lips unclean. But what's deeper than this? It's being human. It's being mundane. It's being finite. It means it's being a creative material made of biological and genetic material. It means the person who has feces in their body that has to extricate it. It's the person who has blood and pus in their body. It's the person that has liquids in their body, urine. You understand? Bringing us not to chop us down, but to show you that you and I are unclean. In Hebrew, it's tameh, meaning it's the opposite of purity. So there's a sense that we need to awareness that we need to understand that Yahweh is not unclean. Yahweh is clean. The lips of those who were speaking Kadosh, 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 the volumes from their mouth when they were speaking had to be heard. Their communication with each other from back and forth with each other was Kadosh. They had to be pure in order to speak this, to be in the presence of the Most High Yah. And they're on that level. 6 pairs of wings, 3 pairs of wings, six wings. So when you and I are going into an alliance with the Most High, he's trying to show you and I that we're unclean. Our mouth is unclean. So we can't get comfortable. Yes, Mashal.
Wouldn't you say that because they are fiery being, they're constantly being purified so that they can stay holy?
Oh boy, there's something else right there. Yes. but they're also the ones who execute the judgment. When he says that, when they said Kadosh, 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 and they're fiery beings, and they're saying this to one another, when he comes down, they're the ones who are going to be the fire. They're the voices. They're the ones. It's a different fire, people. Do you understand? The fire that's going to light up this world is the fire that's coming from them because they're his servants. You understand? So understand the awareness of this. Not that I'm trying to exclude you and I out from this, because look, we see that Yeshayahu, Isaiah, he says, "Woe unto me." He had a relationship with Yah, but he understood his place. And he only understood that when he ascended, when he went into a vision and he saw the temple high and lifted up. When he saw the Most High, he said he was high and lifted up. Go read it. He said he's high and lifted up. And when he ascended, he knew that I can't be the person that I am right now. I need to do something about this situation. And Yah made it possible for him to have a conversation. Yes, Michelle.
No, I didn't mean to raise my hand.
I was about to say, you really, I'm joking. That's my boy, Michelle. Well, here's the good part. Yah promises us that I'm going to change the peoples. Yah says he's going to give us pure lips. So don't be discouraged by what I just showed you. Like I'm trying to block us all out from having a relationship with the Most High. The Most High is letting us know that there's going to come a time where I need to change the people's what? Their mouth, their conversation. I have to change your lips. I have to change your language. It says lips here, but it's language. So you can call on my name of Yohewah without what? Without any impurity. So right now, when you and I are calling upon the Most High, we need to ask the Most High to forgive us. And why is this important? Because when we get into the 10 words, you're going to find out that there is no forgiveness for a person that uses Yahweh's name or calls upon the Most High's name and they don't do it with the right intention. This is a code. It's going to tell you how to protect yourself. Okay. And by the way, the word Safanya here means a treasure. It means a hidden treasure. Okay. So Yah is on one hand saying, letting us know that you guys have unclean lips. Then on the other hand, he's saying, I'm going to give you clean lips. And by the way, I'm going to tell you when he's going to do this. Yes, Azania.
I don't know, like when you're talking, and thank you for the caveat at the end of that segment, because it really does make you wonder why Yahweh was ever bothered with us in the first place. And it's like it says in Davarim 10 that, okay, so the Most High Sabaoth is that he's king in every domain, heavens, earth, seas. And so he says, but yet he loved our fathers.
Mm.
And and like you're talking, and but the text never says the reason he loved our fathers. I always thought it was Abraham's righteousness, but then you pointed out maybe a month or two ago that it was that when Abraham believed, the Most High gave him righteousness,
He gave
right?
him, and he caused
So
him.
it wasn't Abraham's righteousness. So, I mean, just speculatively, because I know you can only speak from that, or maybe it's something in the Hebrew text that, because I don't have the knowledge of the language, I don't understand. What was the reason he loved our forefathers?
He loved our forefather because you go to Genesis chapter number 26, verse number 5, it'll tell you why.
Okay.
Read that for everybody right quick. You got
Okay,
it?
hold on 1 second. I'm coming. I'm coming with it.
26 and 5. Everyone listen very carefully.
Okay, Genesis 26 and 5.
Yep.
Okay, Genesis 26 and 5. And it says, Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes and my law. Okay.
That's his Torah. That's his judgment.
That's his Torah.
That's why he loved him.
Okay, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Toda, Chica, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
That's the reason, everyone, because he listened to the Bikolo, which is his voice and his Torah. He kept his charge. That means guardianship that we just mentioned about the covenant. He listened to what he said. So he Shema. If you look right there, it says Shema. He listened to the Most High. He obeyed the Most High, and he listened to his voice, and he guarded his charge, and he guarded his judgments, and he kept his Torah. He did his Torah, his instructions that the Most High gave him to do. But here he's telling us, I'm going to give you new lips and a new language. I'm going to change the idea that you have unclean lips. Okay? 10 words. Some call it the 10 commandments. They're called the 10 words. In Hebrew, it's called the Eseret HaDavarim, which are the matters, the 10 matters. Because they're not just 10 words, they're 10 matters. And they're divided up into 5 pairs. Okay? So I'm going to show you what the 5 pairs are so you can understand. Okay? So it's not just 10 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down the row. Okay? The way that the words are, or the matters are discussed, and the way that they're formatted and put into the Torah for us to look at tells us a story. And if you know how to figure this out, it's like a puzzle. If you know how to figure this out, then you'll understand what the Most High's intention was for giving them 10 words or 10 matters. Okay. So there's 5 pairs. And make sure you ask me questions. Okay. The reason why it's important for us to go over the 10 words or the 10 matters, okay, or the 10 statements of the covenant is simply because the Most High wants to know if you and I fear him. Because this was the purpose of him coming to the children of Israel. Moshe told him, hey, don't fear. He's only come this way so you can fear him. Because they were terrified and they were shaken and they were shooketh all the way to the core of their being. So the Most High asked the question, don't you fear me? Won't you tremble at my presence? Why is he saying this? In context, in Jeremiah chapter number 5, he's mentioning this to Israel and Judah and telling them that, hey, look, even the ocean doesn't go past the point that I told it not to go. So why are you going past? So if the ocean has decrees and laws, you and I have laws and decrees that we have to follow. And there's things that you and I have to understand. These are the stipulations. This is what is demanded of you. Okay? Yahweh did not ask the creatures or the ocean or the sky or the rivers or the sun and the moon and stars. He never asked him to do what he's asking us to do. You're magnificent, by the way. You're a magnificent creation. All of you. We are. And we've been asked to do something. We've been asked to transcend and to come on another level. See? So with going to that level, you and I have to fear Yah. And we have to tremble at his presence. Okay? And you and I don't necessarily have to wait to ascend. This is what the teaching is about. Because Yah didn't send us here so you and I can make excuses on why we couldn't ascend. I told you I'd do my best not to lose it. It's time for you and I to ascend. And he's going to show us how. Do you understand? This is not just, magical. This is the truth. Because you can ascend in your mind. Your body may not be able to go up on Har Sinai today, but your mind can. And I'm going to show you how. When the Torah was written, okay, and it said it was written on both sides, it wasn't talking about on the front and the back. It wasn't talking about that. It's talking about on both sides. And what it's saying is that when he first wrote it, because the Most High spoke it to us, and then he wrote it down for us with his own finger. Okay, you can find this in the book of Exodus, the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, this is where it's at. So what he's saying is the first statement he puts on tablet number 1. Then the next statement he takes and he puts it on tablet number 2. So he doesn't, so he puts all the odds on one side, all the statements on one side, this odd, and then he puts all the even ones on the other side. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay. But I want you to understand the way that it's formatted. The Torah is not formatted like a regular document that you read from up to down, one through 10. Because if you read it that way, then you're not going to be able to find, okay, and understand what was the point of him giving out the Torah. What's the point of him giving out the Berit, which is the agreement? You will not understand the purpose of the agreement. So when Moshe went down to talk to the children of Israel, more specifically the elders of the people, he laid it out for them, like I'm going to lay it out for you, okay, to show you what is expected of you. Oh, I'm laughing because y'all was good and y'all was kind. Oh, he's kind. So here it is. All right. So we need to look at this. Okay. On the first side, on the left-hand side, Yah begins to tell them about the covenant. He says, look, I'm Yahweh. Okay. I don't have it in Hebrew. I don't need to put it in Hebrew. I know what it says. Okay. I'm Yahweh. That's not a command. That's not a commandment. It's the word. It's the statement. I'm Yahweh. I'm your Elohim who brought you out, meaning I caused you to come out from the land of Egypt, out of the abode of slavery, out of the house. That abode right here is house. Okay. So I brought you out of the house. Okay. I brought you out of this house of slavery. I want you to remember that. Okay. That's part of the agreement. And then he said, I'm going to ask you to do this. You are not to have other gods before me, meaning before my face. Okay. You are not to make for yourselves a carved image of any kind, any representation of anything. Okay. Anything would you and I would call finite. Anything that has limitations. Okay. Anything that has limitations. The sun even is limited. It doesn't shine at the maximum it does all the time. It's limited. The stars die. So don't make any representation of anything in the heaven above, the earth beneath, or the water beneath the shoreline. You are not to bow down to them or serve them, for I am Yahweh, your Elohim. I'm a jealous El. Okay. Remember that he's jealous and I'm punishing the children. Okay. And that word punish right there means I'm going to visit. I'm going to visit the children for the sins of the parents. So he's not punishing the children for the parents. That's a mistranslation. I am visiting. That word right there should be visiting the children for the sins of the parents. So, to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me. So the ones who hate Yahweh, the parent that hated Yah, right? He says, your children are going to have to bear the consequences of your hatred towards me for 3 to 4 generations. You remember how he said that the Moab, that they can't, certain people can't come to him or come into the tabernacle for 10 generations? Then he said, this person will never stand before me and all this, right? So he's letting us know in this agreement and it says hate, but it's really hating. It's not just hate like one time, like you're constantly hating me. Okay. I'm, I'm, I'm going to visit. So this visiting here, it's not punishing. This visiting right here is for those who are hating me. So visitation is for hatred. Those are hating me. Okay. Then he says displaying, which is the ing participle, present tense, that, hey, I'm going to show grace, which is mercy or kesed, to those who are, thousand of those who are loving me and obeying me. So grace or compassion or kindness is only shown to those who are loving him and those who are obeying him. Okay. So there's no grace for those who hate him. There's no mercy and kindness for those who hate him. It's only for those loving him. I'm making it clear as much as possible. That's on one side. So that's the first side. And just pretend that this whole thing right here is just a portion of the the stone itself. Just a little fragment. We just blew it up so we can look at it. Okay. So then on the second side, it says, you are not to use lightly the name of Yahweh, your Elohim, because Yahweh will not leave unpunished. That right there is, it is to be made guiltless. Okay. So they said unpunished, but it means I'm not going to leave you where you're not going to be innocent. Okay, you're going to be guilty. Okay, that's what it really means. Someone who uses his name lightly. It's not lightly, it's actually emptiness. So when it talks about lightly, it means that you have decided to carry my name. Okay, you're carrying my name. Okay, around with you. Right, you carry my name and you lift up my name like a person would lift up a flag. Okay, so you lift up. This comes from the word of for a banner or to lift. Okay, so you're lifting up, or what they would say, a burden. So you're lifting up my name. You're carrying around my name. Okay, and you're showing people my name. But then you treat it like it's nothing, like it's void, like it's empty. There's nothing. It's worthless. So that can happen in several different ways. You do this by how you live your life. Okay. So one of the things that we need to be aware of, which I want to share today, is that he's telling you and I, if you carry my name, which you and I are, and you lift up my name, which you and I are, because we're carrying it, it's on us. That if your life doesn't line up to what my name represents, then you're guilty and you're not going to be forgiven. There's no forgiveness for this. Okay. People say, oh, unpunished, like you're going to get it. There's a degree of punishment. Like, okay, well, you didn't live what I told you. So, I'm going to allow you to profane my name to the point where I'm just going to let you go. No, mm-mm. No, you are guilty and you are going to um, be punished at the point of saying that you're going to be destroyed. Yes, Kel.
Yeah, I'm trying to read or understand uh, when he's saying that he's going to punish the children for the sins of the parents, the third and fourth generation, and then he says that he will show grace to the thousandth generation of those who are loving him. So would that be like if I have my sister, and she hates the Most High because she doesn't agree with him, so her children will be punished to the third and fourth generation. But for myself, if I am following the Most High laws, then I can have like 1,000. My descendants will have 1,000 years of grace. Is that how you would interpret that?
No, no, meaning that, okay, so the example that we have is when the children, he says that I'm a jealous L. I'm going to punish or visit. Remember, it's not punish, it's visit. I'm visiting the children for the sins. So the example that we have is in Numbers chapter number 14, where the children of Israel, the first generation, they were like, we're not going to listen. They've been complaining. And then he asked them to go into the land. They wouldn't go. So the Most High said, okay, well, you're all going to die here. Right. And he says, and also too, your children are going to bear the consequences of this. So they're going to have to walk in the wilderness for 40 years until you die. Okay. The thousand generation is saying that out of the thousand generations, thousands of generations, anyone in that generation that decides to love me, not that your children will, it means that you will. Okay. He's saying that the ones who hate me, let's be clear, the ones who are hating me, those are the ones who are going to get the visitation for the third, and fourth generations. Those that are loving me, if you're inside of that generation, I'm going to show mercy to the thousands of generations to those, the individuals who are loving me. Because he knows that the children of, like, for example, we learned that some of these kings were great kings, and then they had children who were horrible. So they didn't have the mercy and the compassion. They didn't have that. They had to pay for that. Okay. And their line of children had to suffer the consequences. So, for example, if a king got exiled out of the land, well, him and his whole family went out, you know, like that. People who committed a crime, a man who committed a crime against the Most High, that man and his children and everyone else, they died. The Levites, over time, he said they forsook me. And then later on in Ezekiel, he says, because in the past, you guys have forsaken me. Because of that, none of your descendants are going to stand before me. He told Pincus the priest, not Pincus, what do they call it? Eli the priest. because you done this. I told family out of that, and all sons and everyone is going to die at their age. So depending on our I will determine whether or not you're going to receive compassion or the mercy. He's going to, it's only through loving him you're going to receive the. So you and I were part of the thousands. So we, I don't know what thousand we are, but we could be one of the 3,000 out of that generation. He says, I'm going to go ahead because you the same. Oh,
Are you still there, Akiko? You were cutting in and out.
We've
hello,
completely lost you.
guys hear me?
We've lost
Yeah, we
you.
can hear you now. You were cutting in and out. I thought it was just me.
No,
Here,
the same thing. We completely lost
can
you.
you hear me?
And
Can,
completely
can you hear
gone.
me? Can you guys hear me?
You're
I
coming
can
in
hear
and
you
out.
now.
Okay, let me hold on for a second. Let me see what I can do here. I'm gonna stop the share right quick and I'm gonna come here and see if I can get a different. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Can you hear me, Kel?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, cool. All right.
It was
So
just
we're
really
still,
choppy.
yeah. All right.
Would
How
you be
about now? Is
kind
it choppy?
to, when you were describing Eli, I think that was where we kind of lost you. You got a bit choppy.
Okay. Well, what it's talking about in the book of uh I think it's First Samuel. Yeah, First Samuel, chapter number 2. He tells this priest that I'd promised your family that they would always have someone stand before me. But because of your actions and the actions of your son, all you guys are going to die early. Okay. For that line, that family line. Can you hear me? You guys good?
Yeah, sounds
Yes,
good
we can
now.
get
All
that.
right, cool. All right.
So
Yes.
everyone in that family line dies young.
Yeah, in that family line. So out of not all of Aaron's sons, right? So depending on what family offended the Most High, he would punish that family line, that lineage from that in particular branch because of the actions of the father and the sons. It goes down. He said, everyone, all you guys are going to die early now. So all the Levite priests from that line, not all of Aaron's sons, but that in particular line, they died early. Okay. So back to this. So now going back to understanding what he's talking about his name, he's saying if you use my name and you carry around my name and you lift up my name and you say that it's not and the way that you live your life is in a very empty way, like, and why? Because you're associated with the Most High. Do you see this? You see all the I am Yahweh. Do you see this? Do you understand that? So when you see this, he's saying, because you're in an alliance with me, if you go against the set apartness of me, the Qadosh of me, and the ones who see it are the ones in the heavens who are crying out who I am, and then you violate it, right? There's automatic judgment. This is not personal. It is what it is. You're going to be destroyed. So it's not a light thing for us to think that we have his name and we could just do what we want. I got to speed it up. I will be here all day. You know this one. It says, remember the Shabbat, right? Remember the day. I need you to remember the day, the Shabbat, right? Set it apart for Elohim. 6 days to labor, do all your work, but the seventh is the Shabbat. For who? Yahweh. It's for him, right? And so the Shabbat is connected directly to Yahweh through what? Through the idea of being set apart for Elohim. On it, you are not to do any kind of work. Not you, your son, your daughter, not your male, female slave, not your livestock, your foreigner staying with you inside your gates, your property for 6 days. Yahweh, the set apart one, made heaven and earth, the sea and everything in them. But on the seventh day, he rested. He ceased from his work. This is why Yahweh blessed the seventh day, right? The Shabbat. He blessed the day and he separated Qadosh, it for himself. So just like this day is set apart for Yah, those who are connected to Yah are going to have to be separated along with it. Do you understand? Then he turns around and says, on the other side of the tablet, he says, honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land which Yahweh your Elohim, and I made a mistake there, is giving you. There's a positive command. So you got two positive commands that are in here just telling you what he's looking for. Okay. What you read this week. Okay. These are very simple to say. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. They're both negative. Don't steal. Don't give a false witness against your neighbor. Those are both negative. Do not covet your neighbor's house. That's negative. Do not covet your neighbor's wife, his male or female slave, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. That's negative. So we have 6 negatives. So that's not 10, right? We have 2 positives. That's 8. So where's the other 2 commandments? There's not 10 commandments. They're 10 statements, or 10 matters that he's dealing with. Okay. So before I continue, I want to let you know what this word covet means. This word covet means is for you to have a desire for and for you to delight in it. You're delighting in your neighbor's wife. He did not say to the women, do not delight in someone else's husband. Not to say that that would be something that he would say, but he's clearly showing you that these words were written to the men. Don't cover your neighbor's wife. The wife, the slave, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. So the wife belongs to him. The slave belongs to him. The donkey belongs to him. Okay? Dealing with the house over here, we would say the house that he has with, the hardwood floors and the marble fireplace. No. He's talking about the lineage. Don't desire the lineage of your neighbor. What do you mean? You're in a house and you belong to the tribe of Reuven, and you just up and down keep swearing, I wish that I was Yehuda. I want to be Yehuda. Oh, you made me of the tribe of Yehuda, but I want to covet the Levites, like Reuven. You know, Reuven and his family, their children, that's what got them into trouble in the wilderness, because they coveted, they wanted the priesthood. They delighted in everything the Most High gave to them. So they were willing to do whatever they needed to do to get the priesthood. See? So this is about delighting in something that doesn't belong to you. Okay? So what does all this mean? Because you've been reading these things. Okay? Here's what it is. When we talk about the 5 pairs, those are 5 pairs, 2 on each side. Okay? Here's the first pair. Here's the second pair. Here's the third. Here's the fourth. Here's the fifth. Okay? So when the first word the Most High gives, and he's talking about everything, what he's literally talking about is that I'm the transcendent one. I'm the one who has the power to do everything. There's no limit on me. Okay? You go all the way to the end on the bottom. This is like a chiastic structure. Okay? On the bottom, these match in terms of an individual. But on the bottom is an individual who is very mundane and finite. They are restricted and their life is very boring and they're on a human level. Okay? The goal is for us to what? Ascend. To get to the transcendent. Okay? So the way that the Most High has designed it is, if you want to get to me, okay, then you're going to have to find a way to connect with me. right? So the Most High is given the 10 words to teach us how to connect, okay? On the second pair, this is right here when I talk, it's not line 2, it's the second pair. These are pairs, okay? The second pair that deals with the Shabbat and the honor of your parents, those two right there are the positive commands that he gives in order for you to secure your connection to him. That secures your connection to the Most High. Okay. Just like individuals over here in the last pair here, the fifth pair, how they're connected to their possessions. Okay. They're connected to that. The Most High is connected to the Shabbat and honor. The people are connected to their possessions. Okay. The word that's used here, kavod, is the same word that he mentions, or the seraphim were crying out that his kavodo, his honor, is throughout the whole earth. So part of his honor and the heaviness of who he is and his transcendency and his infinite power is found in the idea of honor, which is supposed to be given to someone's parents. And if it's not given to the parent, you are going to be put to death for it. If you break the Shabbat, you're going to get put to death. This is a capital punishment on both ends. There's a capital punishment for that. I mentioned here that Yahweh uses time, day, as a way to keep the connection. So out of 6 days, you're not connected to Yahweh. This is when you do all your work. You're not connected to him. You haven't transcended because you're busy with what you do. But he tells us on the Shabbat, which is the 7th day, that this is the way that you would transcend. This is the way that you would secure your connection with me, is on this day. This is the way that you would elevate, is if you do this. So he's teaching us how to elevate. And the elevation is through the Shabbat. That's how you get connected to the Most High. That's why if you violate it, he puts you to death, because you're not honoring life, okay? If you go against your parents, you're not honoring the one who gave you life, okay? So Yahweh uses a time. He uses time, and there's certain periods of time that are set apart, okay? Day, time. Why? Because Yahweh's transcendent. He hasn't made a connection with any other day except for the 7th day. So if you want to be connected, then you want to secure your connection, then keep the Shabbat and don't defile it. Okay? So in time, which Yah transcends time and he transcends days, he's made it available. He's using the Shabbat as the way for us to be connected to him. He used the time of that day when the sun comes out, from the rising of it to the going down. That's when your connection is secure. Just like I just lost a connection on Zoom because my internet was tripping, right? That can happen. You can have things to be disrupt your connection, okay? So here, the third pair was dealing with murder and adultery, which are right across from each other. They're both across from each other because they're dealing with that which ceases life, life's connection. Because if you commit murder, you took someone's life. If you commit adultery, you just are going to have your life taken. It's negative because it ceases life. So this breaks and ends your connection. The moment you become a murderer, that's the moment that you lose your connection to the Most High. Okay? The Shabbat is Qadosh. Honoring your parents is Qadosh. You want to verify? Go to Leviticus 19. Sister Zanya.
Yes.
Could you please pull up Leviticus 19 verses number 1 until I tell you to stop?
Okay. Leviticus 19, verse 1.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Coming. Okay. The heavens declare the glory of Yahweh. The
No, that's
skies.
that's Psalms.
Oh, that's
Leviticus.
Psalms. I'm sorry.
Okay. Leviticus.
Okay.
That was beautiful too.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Leviticus 19. Okay.
I want to show everyone what the Most High says about the Shabbat
Yes.
and
Yes.
honor.
Yahweh said to Moshe, "Speak to the entire assembly of Israel and say to them, Be holy, because I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am holy. Each of you must respect your mother and father, and you must observe my Sabbaths. I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Do
Okay,
not
stop right
come
there. So that's it. So that right there tells you that the Shabbat and honoring your mother and father is connected. And he opens it up by saying, I'm holy, I'm Qadosh. So in order to be Qadosh and have that connection to secure your connection to being Qadosh, these two things right here is what allows you to tap in to being Qadosh with the Most High. Okay. So in order for us to deal with the transcendent one, the infinite one, he uses a day, a time of day, and a day in order for us to connect. He uses a relationship with our parents in order to connect. Okay. Um, Now, this last part, excuse me, the possession here is in pair number 4. Pair number 4 is dealing with possessions because the individuals they have possessions, and so the last pair, which was a, don't steal and don't lie, okay, is talking about disrupting the connection between you and people. Okay, so 3 right here, go 1, 2, and 3. So if this is a chiastic structure, these two go together. These two go together. What's this thing tripping? These two go together. These two pairs go together. And this one right here is the center. This is what we call our center, which is our point. And this points directly to life, and it's really dealing with people, the life of people. So the center of everything is people. Okay. And so the Most High is finding a way for us to transcend. Okay. But you and I, the things that are going to stop us from transcending is the things that are found in the bottom pairs, these 6 things right here. Because all of these are negative, right? Which is, don't pursue your neighbor's house, his wife, his ass, his donkey, his servants, or none of that. Don't take none of his stuff. Don't lie to him, because if you do desire and covet and desire what he has, then you are going to take his possession. You're going to steal. So they're all related. Okay. Also, too, could end up in murder. So Ty saying, if you what it's going to do is either going to cease your connection. So what he wants us to do to him, one,
Kika, we're losing you
The
again.
connection's going again, yes.
that's your. Can you hear me?
It's breaking up
Can
intermittently.
you guys hear me?
I can hear you now, but you
Yeah.
All
break
right. So
up.
you guys, I'm sorry. It's
Do you guys have bad weather
Yeah.
over in Cali? Must be the weather.
It must be the weather, yeah.
It looks like we lost him for a moment, right?
Yeah, I think he probably
Yeah.
tried to disconnect to come back.
And come
Yeah.
back. Okay.
We still can't hear you, Akika.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So what's strange?
Oh, you cut out again.
You're gone again.
Oh boy, this is really frustrating.
You're
So
back
frustrating.
again.
I know it's just I apologize. It's so frustrating because I'm trying to talk about connections and my connections keep going out. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, absolutely ironic.
All right, so Let me, that means I'm gonna have to speed up a little bit. All right, so listen, expressions. So Yahweh, he and people, they have a way of expressing their wills. The Most High expresses his will through his commandments. So everything the Most High's intentions are is always going to be expressed through his commands. What his will is, what his desire is. As people, what we do is our will is through the things that we listen to and the things that we guard and the things that we do. Okay. Forgive the misspell right here with listen. Okay. So basically what we need, everyone, is to find a way to align our will, like a will alignment, not in your car, but another will alignment. We need to align our will with his will. Can you guys hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Is we need to find a way to align our will with his will. Okay. Because he's not going to allow you and I to do anything. Listen to what I'm trying to explain to you. He's not going to, everything has to be his will. It will never just be our will. Your will is to listen and to guard to do what he says, but you have to be in alignment with what he wants. So, as his people, you and I are not able to have our own will. That's what you and I have not been told. This is why people are walking away from the Most High as I speak, is because they want their will to do what they want, and they want his will to align with their will. And that's not going to happen. This is transcendent. So if you're hearing me carefully, you and I are not going to be able to do what we want to do. You're not going to be able to ask any questions about why it is that you're supposed to keep the Shabbat. You don't get to question the Shabbat. You don't get to question the diet. You don't get to do any of that. And because you and I are his servants, and we're his slaves. When we get back, we're going to do exactly what he says. And because he's set apart, so you and I need to have confidence in what his will is. And this is the problem with a lot of relationships. So our problem with Yah is that we don't want to do his will, which is his commands. We want to question what he says, and we want to add to what he says in order for it to align up with what we want to do. So we'll, say different things, and we'll express that. And the way that we express our frustration with him is by not doing or listening and obeying what he says. Basically, that's what it is. And that's generally the problem in any relationship where you have a master or a servant, or you have someone who is in greater authority than the one who's underneath that authority. It can never be where two people or two entities are controlling anything. I hope you're hearing what I'm saying. Because if you and I don't get this, then you will never learn what it means to be Qadosh. In order to obtain the being Qadosh, or to fulfill Yah's purpose and his commands, is our will has to be in alignment with his. That's the only way it's going to work. And that comes through trusting him. And that's what he's right now. He's trying to find whose desires to do what I want. All right. In closing, I want to talk about stability that's within, because we want to be able to have, a stable relationship with the Most High and have stronger connections. In a nutshell, in order for us to keep our connection and make a strong connection with the Most High, the first thing that we have to do is recognize the Yah's Kadosh, that he is set apart. Okay. And we're going to have to, in our minds, we're going to have to ascend. There has to be an ascension on Har Sinai, which the children of Israel were supposed to go up after the sound of the Yovel, which is the trumpet, not the shofar. Two different sounds. The Yovel is a time of freedom. That's when the Yovel is sound. The trumpet is sound on the time of release. So after the Most High spoke to the children of Israel, he says after they hear the Yovel, they can come up. He didn't say they can come up when they hear the shofar. They can come up when they hear the Yovel. The Yovel is a time, again, of release. It has to do with the time of Jubilee. That means to be set, to be set free. They can come at that in a particular moment. Okay. But until now, they can't. Okay. So this connection to Yah can only be found in the recognition of how set apart he is, like Isaiah did in his vision that he saw. He recognized it. So the Most High wants us to recognize that. Okay. The second thing is is that we're going to have to guard Yahweh's commandments. Okay. More specifically, the 10 words. Listen to me carefully. If you do not know these 10 words, okay, you are in trouble. Because it means that you would carry around his name and, you'll do something that you don't supposed to and it'll break your connection with the Most High. And I'm not your judge, but the Most High has told us that my covenant has been broken, right? In order for us to reestablish this covenant, which that's what he's given us time to do, is I want you to memorize the 10 words. That's how we're going to get back into the covenant, is through memorization of it to understand what it means, like we just went over, okay? And understand the holiness and understand what our connections are to the Most High, okay? We're going to protect the sanctity of his name because that's the thing that you won't be forgiven for. That's like one of the seraphim calling out, Qadosh, 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 and all of a sudden they decide to change the tune and say something totally different than what they've been instructed to do. Don't you get it? They don't have a choice. The seraphim, they don't have a choice. This is what they were commanded to say, and this is what they say, because they were commanded to say this. And if anyone goes outside of what they're commanded, then it's a violation of the words that they've been commanded. It's a direct assault on Yahweh's name because Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh is aligned with Yahweh Zavaot, the Malot, the Haaretz, meaning his glory fills the whole entire earth. See? So it's all about Kadosh, parents, and marriage. These are relationships that help us know what our roots are, the traditions, and also, too, is good for multi-generation, right? So if we do what the Most High is asking us to do, this cannot be excluded from the idea of showing how Kadosh Yahweh is. You have to guard these relationships because if you look at it, that's a personal relationship. These are very intimate relationships, very intimate relationships. These other relationships are different that you have with other people. So I would say in order to strengthen those connections, then you should be with people who are like-minded, like Dawid has said that, blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly. He doesn't walk in the holek and the ratzaim. He doesn't deal with the people who are wicked. Okay. Neither does he walk on the path of sinners. He doesn't practice walking with them, and he doesn't, he's not on the road on the path that they're on. And of course, he doesn't sit in the seat of the scornful, those who are mocking what the Most High is talking about. They just don't want to do what he's saying. So I just want to be clear. It's not easy in this in particular walk. These things that I'm asking you to do here about being stronger and to keep these connections, they're not easy, but they're worth it. It's not easy to memorize the 10 words. It's not, because it means that you have to take the time and you have to go through it and you have to understand. It's not just words that I want you to memorize. I want you to memorize and understand why he's saying what he's saying. Remember that he's Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Remember the sanctity of his name. Remember that this is our connection, that we're trying to reconnect with the Most High. Okay? It's not easy. It isn't. I won't even claim that it is. Yes.
So it's like when you go to church and they tell you, don't worry about the New Testament, and they run around saying the law, specifically these commandments, are no good. I mean, it are no longer applicable or necessary. Truly is, they completely want to sever any possibility of you ever truly having salvation, especially if you're a descendant of Abraham. And we seem to have been hardest hit by this when you look and see all the churches in our community, whether storefront or this big regal center that holds thousands. There's just so many of them.
Yeah. And that's the danger. So you're fighting against that too, because other people are saying this, and then you're going to have to come out and you have to separate yourself. You have to be, willing to leave people alone. And that's what it is. Okay. So that was an excellent point, Koti. So here now, I want to share this in closing to tell you what's going to happen. Okay. Isaiah says this in chapter number 64 of the book of Isaiah, Yashayahu. He says, we wish that you would tear open heaven. And now we right there is talking about the children of Israel. and come down so the mountains would shake at your presence. He's making reference to the time that they received the Torah, time that they received the 10 words. It would be like fire kindling the brush and the fire that makes the water boil. Then your enemies would know your name and the nations would tremble before you. This is what's going to happen. Remember, Yahweh Zavaoth, Kadosh, 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 Yahweh Zavaoth. His glory fills the whole entire earth, right? And he's going to do that by fire. Okay. That's what's going to happen. This whole wish is not his wish. He said, let it be that this is going to happen. And the Most High doesn't share information with us unless he's going to share with his servants, the prophets. So this is right here is an example. So, Kel, when you asked me earlier today, could you imagine, the Most High coming like that? The reason why it's shared with us in the Torah is simply because the Most High is going to do it. He's going to do it now. Instead of you just hearing his voice, the whole entire world's going to hear it. Instead of you hearing the shofar, the whole world's going to hear the shofar. Instead of you seeing the fire, they're going to see the fire. Why? Because he wants his name to be known. And it's only going to be known. And when he comes, they're going to hear his voice. And as it's been stated in the book of Deuteronomy, who has ever heard the voice of Yahweh and lived except for you out of all humanity? So the people that hear it and then live is the children of Israel. That's going to be the difference. Do you understand? And those who are joined themselves to the children of Israel. Okay. So the whole world is going to see. He's going to tear open heaven, people. Okay. I know, you think this is a sci-fi project or a movie or some clip or something imaginary, but the very sky that you see is the very one that he has made. And he's going to rip it open and he's coming down. And all the mountains, not just Har Sinai, all the mountains are going to shake at his presence. And he's going to set the world on fire. And you say, well, how do you know that? Well, because he, only said it here. He said it somewhere else too. This is what Yah is saying. It's not a kika. Yahweh says this, wait for me. Wait for me. For the day when I rise to witness against you, when I decide to assemble nations, to gather kingdoms together, to pour on them my indignation and all my furious anger. For all the earth will be consumed in the fire of my passion. The word Zephaniah is a hidden treasure. This wasn't written just only for those who are reading the Bible. It's for those who understand what it means about Yahweh's Torah. Because this is the reason why this fire is coming. And he says there's a day. Just like he told the children of Israel, I'm going to come and see you on the third day. When I rise to witness against you. The witness against us here is the 10 words. Listen to me very carefully. The 10 words is going to be used to witness against you. It's called the adut. The reason why it's a witness against you is because these are the words that were spoken to you. The words that were written down for you. The words that were in the golden box. The words that have been given to us to be told and spoken from generation after generation. This is what Yah is going to testify to. So, if you don't understand the 10 words, and you've lived a life that's going against the very essence of who he is in his holiness, then you and I are going to be destroyed along with everyone else. I know this is not a nice message. I know it's not something that you look forward to and you come to hear it, but I'm going to let you know that he's given his words to us. We use the word encouragement a lot, but it's a warning. It's a warning. If you do not understand, he told us, I want you to listen and obey what I said, not question. Don't question anything that he has said, because Yahweh is righteous and he's just. And that is the part of the agreement. That's what it is. You don't get to say nothing to him about anything except for I will. Like, what's his name asked? He said, Who shall we send? He said, here I am. Hineni, send me. Then he said, what do you want me to say? He said, go and tell them this, that you have eyes you cannot see, you have ears you can't hear. See? So this is our warning. And when Yah's talking about waiting for him, he said, wait for me. The Hebrew word right there has a connection to the word of dedication. Yah wants us to be dedicated to him. The waiting for Yah is being devoted to Yah and being dedicated to him and him alone. Okay? And when I say to him and him alone, it's his ways. It's what did he say? His bakolo. What is his voice? What has he spoken? What did he say? Not what someone else said. What did he say? Okay? All the misunderstandings about what we don't understand about the Torah and what we don't understand about the judgments, all those things are going to be worked out. But for our own sake, it's in your own hands, your salvation. Okay? Whether or not you survive is going to be based upon only one thing, and that's whether or not you listen to his voice. That's all it's going to be based on. That's it. And you can verify this in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 30. If you think I'm lying to you, you read and it says you're going to return and listen to exactly what he has spoken. You're going to listen to his voice. His voice is the covenant. I'm going to say it one more time. His voice is the covenant. It's the 10 words. Anoki Yahweh Eloheka diasherdi hotzitika lemeretz and mitzrayim abeth avadim. You lo yiyeh lekad Elohim na kedrim na al panai. Lo don't you ta say lekad fasele we call it tumuna. The asher ba shamayim the mimol and my asher ba retz and mitikat and my asher ba mayin and mitikat the la retz. Lo tishtaka we lahim. Wa lo ta avadim v'ki anoki Yahweh Eloheka el kona. Pokada wona voti albanim and all shilashim and way all rabbaim the lasona I. Vao say the kesi de la lafim de la hovai de ula shomre de mitzvotai. And lo tisa hef the shem Yahweh Eloheka de la shawa. Ki lo yanakwe Yahweh etha shed yisa de efer de shemo de la shav. And use the cord et yom de hashabat de la quarter shel. Shah sheti yamin ta volim wa sita de kole malaktika. And uva yom de hashavi de shabbat de la Yahweh Eloheka. Lo de ta se de kole malaka. Diata, di vinka, di vitika, di avdika, di amatika, uvahintaka, the wagelraka, the ashera, the vishareka. The key to shashet, the yamin, the asada yawa, the eta hashamayim, and why eta haaretz, and why eta hayam, and why eta kadasher bam, and why you're not going to buy yom the hadashavi, and all the cane of Vayrock, the yom the hashabat, the kodashehu. You ka veda, the avikam, waitim, akala lamani, yarikuna yameka, the ha aramadi ashera, the yawa eleheka, the notain lak. Lo tirsak, lo tinaf, lo tig nov, lo ta'an, neva reakad eshaquer. Lo tak mo de beta reakad, lo tak mo de eshet de reakad, de way afto, way amato, with shodro, and wakomoro, and wakala shel reakad. That is the 10 words. That is the 10 statements that you better know. Because if you don't, then you're not going to know how set apart your Elohim is. You're not going to know how mundane you really are. You see? So learn the words of the Most High. If you have it in you, learn it in Hebrew. I don't care if it takes you a year to learn one line. Learn it and understand what it means. Start off. Challenge yourself. Anoki Yahweh, I am Yahweh. Say it. Anoki Yahweh, I am Yahweh. Eloheka, I'm your Elohim, the Hotzitika. I'm the one who's caused you to come out from the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage. Learn that word because your life depends on it, because that's your connection. You understand? So coming back to the Most High and getting these connections with him means that we're going to have to do things that we never thought we would do before. I don't know about you, but I want to transcend. I want you to transcend with me. I want you to walk with me. I want you to go up with me. Moshe wanted the children of Israel to go up, but they weren't ready. They were not, they lied and said, we'll do everything that you said. They lied to him straight to his face. They lied. They didn't want to do it. They thought they wanted to do it until they understood that, wait a minute, we don't get to bend on this. We don't get to make up our own laws. We don't get to add anything to this. We don't get to subtract. Oh my goodness, are you serious? We're not our own people anymore. We got to wear what he tells us. We got to eat what he tells us. We got to be where he tells. I mean, come on, it's slavery all over again. It's better that we die here in the wilderness. And that's the same attitude that people have today. Do you understand? It's time to study. Torah, Exodus chapter number 21, verse 1, all the way to chapter number 24, verse 19. It's only 3 chapters. Haftarah, 2 Kings, chapter number 11, verse number 17 to chapter number 12, verse number 17. Meditation, chapters 19 all the way to chapter number 38. Ascend. Make your connection with the Most High before it's too late. Before it's too late, make your connection. Okay? That's what you do. And you make that a priority. You make a list of things that are important to you, like you have a wish list or a bucket list. Make sure that's on your list. I'm going to memorize the 10 words in English, and if I have the time, I'm going to do it in Hebrew. And every day when I get home, I'm going to do one line. I'm going to write it out. Basically, that's how I did it. I wrote it out. I wrote it out because I know how important words are. Your life depends on it. Okay? So don't play games with yourself. That's the truth. Any questions, contributions?